The problem with most people's retirement planning is they think that retirement is the final destination. And maybe if you're planning on retiring at 70 or 75 years old, maybe it is the final destination because you're not going to have a lot of gas left in the tank at that point. You just better kick back and just, I guess, enjoy not having to go to work. But for those of us who want to retire early, it's not the final destination. It's just the beginning. Look at me. I'm 52 years old. I just bought a house here in Spain. There's a river flowing right down there. Actually, I'm about to close on the whole rest of the mountain pretty soon, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. So let's talk about some of the big mistakes in thinking that retirement is the final destination. Just in case you're new here, I'm Jeff. This is the Retirement Mentality channel. It's a place where I want to change your mentality about retirement. And I try to do that through using some of my own experiences, my own antidotes, and mostly a lot of my own mistakes to try to help you guys get to retirement quicker and faster and enjoy it more. So let's talk about when I was in my 20s, they didn't have terms like the FIRE movement. No one talked about early retirement. We didn't have YouTube channels to try to explain all these things to us. We had only books, and I don't know. I didn't read books in my 20s, but I doubt there are very many books about retiring early. So, I sort of always had a plan of self-sufficiency. I'm an entrepreneurial spirit kind of a guy. My college degree is a business and administration with an emphasis in entrepreneurship and small business. I can't spell it, but I always knew I wanted to be my own boss. And so I knew there was never going to be a gold watch and a pension at the end of my working career. So I always was just my plan was basically just for self-sufficiency without having to go to work every day. So like in my 20s, my plan was, I just need 10 small businesses that make like $1,000 a month. Maybe a candy vending business over here and a t-shirt business over here. Just 10 little things that each could make $1,000 a month. But I quickly realized that was stupid. It's still 10 businesses. That's not retirement by any means. And so, it's not self-sufficiency without working. I guess I wasn't calling it retirement at the time. So by my late 20s, before I was 30, I figured out, maybe rental properties is the key. Maybe I need 10 rental properties that each one makes $1,000 a month. And then I'm sitting pretty, I'm home free, and I don't have to work. And so that was it. I was off to the races. But the problem was I actually thought it was a race, and I tried to do it way too fast. And these were the days of 100% financing, and I was doing it with no money down and no equity, and I didn't have any reserve accounts. There was no backup plan. There wasn't really any kind of plan at all, and it failed. And the reason that I bring this up is because my retirement plan wasn't a plan. It was a retirement idea. It was an idea of self-sufficiency through real estate, and it wasn't backed up by any kind of real concrete thinking or planning or numbers or anything. I just thought that was a great idea. And that's the way most people do their retirement planning, is they just come up with an idea. I'm going to retire at 65 and I'll live off Social Security. All right, that's not much of a plan, is it? Let's take it a step further to somebody who says, I'm going to retire at 65, I'm going to have Social Security, and I'm going to have $800,000 in low-cost index funds that I'll live off of 3%. Okay, all right, now that person's, they're onto something there. That's a way better plan, but they still left something out. What are you going to do after you retire? The problem is, most people plan to get to retirement. They think retirement is the destination, and they get the numbers right. They base their retirement numbers off of the life they're living now, but they don't know what they want their life to look like in retirement. And this is important because if you plan for the life you have now, the life you have in your working career, and you see what your expenses are, and you plan to fund that life, well, that life involves going to work, coming home, cooking dinner, and sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. So if your plan is to get up all day and sit on the couch and watch Netflix and cook dinner and sit on the couch and watch Netflix, well, your numbers should be right. But if you decide you want to do something a little bit more exciting or have a different kind of a retirement life, those numbers, they might not just work. So what is the reason that you worked your whole life What is it that you want to do? Most people have no clue what they want to do with their days after retirement. So what do you want to do? What do you want to do in your retirement? If you could do anything you want, are you one of the people who's already put thought into this and you know what you want to do? Leave me a comment down there and tell me what you planned out that you're going to do in your retirement. And if you're one of those people who are like, oh shit, I don't know what I want to do, I haven't thought about this yet. Well, if you could do anything you wanted, what would you do? Don't think about it. Just write down the first thing in the comments down there that you want to do. I want to move to Cambodia. I want to raise bees and have a honey farm. I want to buy an RV and travel the US for 5 years. Whatever it is, what would you do in your retirement if money wasn't an object and you could do anything you wanted? Put it in the comments down there. While we're at it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I don't usually remember to ask you guys to do that, but please do that. It helps the channel out immensely. And we're starting to get a little momentum, so help me keep growing. Thank you very much. You see, here's the real problem. If you spent 40 years working to finally get you to the place where you can have this life of retirement to do anything you wanted, but you never thought about what you wanted to do, you just thought you're going to spend every day sitting on your lazy boy watching reruns of Walker, Texas Ranger. And then 2 years into it, that's when it hits you. Holy shit, I want to have a farm of growing organic tea in Bali. Well, your retirement numbers you worked the last 40 years for aren't going to pan out. And even worse than that, even if you're content to sit on your lazy boy watching reruns of Walker, Texas Ranger, that's harder to say than I thought it was going to be. So even if you're content to watch all the reruns of Walker, Texas Ranger throughout your retirement plan, and 6 months into your marathon of the reruns, your wife goes, holy shit, what are we doing? This isn't what I signed up for. And your spouse wants to go do something wild and crazy. Guess what? You're going too, because they will forcibly remove you from that lazy boy and make you go and do it. Trust me, I know. So again, your numbers are going to be screwed up. So what you really need to do while you're crunching the numbers and you're figuring out exactly how many shares of the S&P 500 you need to fund your life on your lazy boy, spend some time in between crunching those numbers and ask yourself, what do I really want to do? And don't just ask yourself, ask the spouse, and you guys need to talk about it, because you need to be on the same page. If you want to live in Spain, if you want to, we retired and we lived in the Virgin Islands. Now we're in Spain. None of this was really on our radar when we first started talking about retirement. So things change. You got to be able to adapt, and having the right kind of income. Our income comes from real estate. So we know how much that income generally is, so we can kind of change and adapt. If your income is going to come from the S&P 500 or stocks and bonds or whatever it's coming from, you can know how much you have to work with there in case of a midlife retirement crisis where you need to go to Europe. Because the tragedy of thinking you did a great retirement planning job, even if you said, I'm going to retire at 60 with $1.5 million in the bank and have a 4% withdrawal rate and have $50,000 in an emergency fund to pay for any emergency so I don't have to draw down from my retirement funds, that's all good and great. You have to fit your life into the box that amount of money fits into. And that's how everybody does this backwards. They plan out how much money they're going to retire with, and then they try to cram their life into that box instead of figuring out what your life is going to cost and then figuring out how much money you need to fund that. And that is the better way to do it, because then you actually get the life that you want. And alternative lifestyles really don't cost that much more. I just got done watching a video from some people who are full-time travelers. They went to 31 countries last year, and they were in America twice. They're all over the place. 31 different countries, 80 different beds they said they slept in. And the video I watched was their budget video. They spent $53,000 for that full year of travel with no home base, literally traveling the whole year. And they saw their family. They traveled around to different countries and visited family. They flew their family with them to a couple countries. So these alternative lifestyles aren't that much. Here in Spain, my life in Florida, my taxes and my insurance on my house in Florida were about $12,000. Our health insurance for the two of us, call that $10,000. The insurance on our car, $1,500. That's roughly what, $23,000? Here in Spain, my homeowner's insurance, my property taxes, and my car insurance, that's about $2,000 a year. So I shaved over $20,000 off of my annual budget by moving here. Just $20,000 gone. And I'm sure a lot of people love to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance and health insurance and car insurance. And a lot of people like to pay that. But imagine taking that $20,000 and buying this every year. This looks like a lot more fun, doesn't it? Well, that would be stupid to buy that every year. So instead of buying this, if I skipped a year, I could buy this. And then next year, I could buy this. And then next year, I could buy this. And then next year, how about a 6-month cruise around the world? Or you could keep paying those property taxes and insurance. Anyway, I'm making a point to illustrate you can live different places, you can experience different lifestyles. There's a lot of the world out there to experience. And if you figure out what you want your life to look like and then create a retirement plan to fund it, you'll have a lot more fun. And there's a fly biting me on my leg. You'll have a lot more fun and you'll have the actual life that you want. I hope you liked this video. Give me that thumbs up if you did, and then go watch this video next and we'll talk more about how to retire early.